It seems we've made good on our promise and managed to make a prediction video in under 10 months. We're improving, and just in time for everyone's favorite spooktastic matchup.
And in case you're wondering why we didn't do one for the last matchup, well, there wasn't really much of a prediction to be made. Regardless, we can actually talk about this one. While I personally don't have the biggest connection with either of these combatants, my hype levels are nearly through the roof just due to how this matchup is hyped up by many people around me.
My biggest exposure to Jason was just him being in Mortal Kombat X, as well as playing the Friday the 13th game. And while I have no connection to Mr. Myers over here, damn if I'm not excited for our first horror-themed matchup. The potential for an atmospheric and spooky fight is through the roof, as is the potential for a kill to rival John vs. Saberwolf. As for who wins that fight, it's Jason. Jason wins. He's going to turn Michael into a bloody pile of paste on the sidewalk.
Yeah, funny how that works. We don't deliberately make a prediction on a stomp matchup, only to end up doing another one. Well, to be fair, there's actually a prediction to be made. These characters are actually fairly grounded, as opposed to the comically powerful Spunch Bop, and could be seen as somewhat on par with each other at a glance. But yeah, there's no use hiding the fact that Jason kind of just wins, especially considering the fact that they're likely going full composite mode for this one, and mashing all the timelines together, including the comics. And that gives us some whack-ass stuff for Jason.
Be nice to Michael and start with what advantages he does have. For starters, a slight speed edge. While Jason can outrun gunfire from a helicopter and blitz soldiers at 76 meters per second, Michael can tag a guy who can dodge gunfire moving 104 meters per second. Michael is also consistently more agile than Jason is, and generally a lot smarter. Theoretically, Michael could just outlast his less agile opponent, right? No, he can't. The speed gap is actually rather small, effectively being peak human versus slightly faster peak human. Plus, unlike Michael, Jason has a sorcerer's teleportation from the Friday game in MKX, where all Michael has is movies where he is definitely most likely isn't teleporting. Also, Jason's not exactly dumb either. He can use strategy and adapt to an opponent's fighting style, although he mostly uses his brain for coming up with over-the-top kills.
Michael is also notably outboxed in just raw power and durability. He's noticeably more tame in comparison to Jason's far more blatant showings of strength. Man can throw trees like darts, bust down steel doors, and even defeated Jason X2, who shook an entire space station like a meteor hit it. Yeah, that's something else, huh?
He's also just casually ripped apart Freddy Krueger, crushed Ash Williams' car, and casually crushes humans like Captain America does logs. I mean, seriously, look at Jason. He's 7 feet tall and built like a fucking linebacker. I would be way more scared to be trapped in a room with him than with Michael Myers. Not that Michael isn't strong, he can fuck up a human with his bare hands, but he's never displayed anything as physically impressive as Jason has. They're also both pretty tough, having both survived being shot, exploded, blown up, electrocuted. But you know what Jason's done that Michael hasn't? Survived a fucking nuke at point blank range!
Yeah, that's at least a town-level durability feat straight to the face. And yes, while that version was Uber Jason, and Uber Jason did defeat a clone of regular Jason in a fight, it wasn't really that one-sided of a fight either, enough to be considered comparable or at least slightly downscale from regular Jason. Like, legitimately, it was an actual fucking fight between the two of them. Considering the fact that clones are, literally direct copies, regular old Jason should totally be able to scale to the speed, considering they're doing a full composite of everyone.
There's also the time in Jason X, to the third power, where two clones of Jason X fought each other, both already stronger than Uber Jason, and the winning clone absorbed the other one and basically fused with it. Like, actually, genuinely, what the fuck? Remember when Friday the 13th was about Jason stalking the campgrounds where he killed teenagers? Now Jason is a cyborg space zombie deadite fusing with clones of himself. Meanwhile, Michael is... he has the Curse of Thorn, which doesn't really do much for him in terms of stats or such for this matchup.
Jason just generally has an overall better healing factor as well. Michael is good at repairing damage and such, but Jason works far better and his resurrection is far better than what Michael's capable of. Plus, while neither of them can talk, Jason still rocks the mic better. Michael may as well just be a normal everyday dude from Jason's point of view, because man, he may be able to move quicker, but you can only move fast so many times until death catches up to you. In this instance, death being the one machete to the midsection wielded by none other, the Camp Crystal Lake Killer. So, now that we have some extra time, that Sauron episode is probably the next time, huh?
My bets are on Sauron fighting the Lich King. No stake in the matchup personally, but I hear it's good, so maybe we'll cover that. After that, the season's almost over. Man, where did the time go? Usually there's been nothing but bangers for Death Battle, so I imagine this episode as well as the remaining ones will be much the same. A shame this prediction couldn't be as in-depth as what we did for Trunks vs. Silver, but given how badly Jason slashes Michael to bits, I suppose it didn't need to be. Also, we specifically didn't touch on Dead by Daylight Michael because that's too non-standard. And if we did, we'd have to give Jason proper Mortal Kombat scaling, in which case Michael is still fucked 8 ways from Elm Street.
So yeah, Jason should handily take most stats with the exceptions of speed and intelligence. He's got greater versatility and hacks with his, actual teleportation and better healing abilities. As for how this episode will actually play out, I have no doubt that it's going to be a banger fight. This is one hell of a highly requested matchup, so there's little way they can screw this up, especially with their recent track record. So yeah, you could say I'm pretty enthusiastic. And yeah, that's about it. I guess we'll see you next. Wait. Hold on. Did I forget to make a skeleton joke? It's Halloween!